6 reasons you should never mess with a Gemini. Geminis are often seen as the life of the party, charming, witty, and full of energy. But what if I told you there's a side to Gemini that makes them one of the most unpredictable and dangerous signs to mess with? You might have encountered their playful side, but have you ever felt the sting of their dual nature when you cross the line? In today's video, we're going to dive deep into why Gemini is a sign you should never underestimate. Their unpredictability, sharp intelligence, and hidden depths make them one of the most complex zodiac signs, and if you challenge them, you'll quickly find out why messing with a Gemini can lead to consequences you never saw coming. Geminis are ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication, which gives them the ability to switch gears faster than you can blink. But their charm isn't just superficial. Underneath that carefree demeanor lies an intense side, one that comes out when they feel threatened or disrespected. Stick around as we break down the key reasons why messing with a Gemini is a bad idea. From their quick wit to their ability to manipulate situations, there's more to Gemini than meets the eye. Let's dive into the mind of a Gemini, starting with the most fascinating part of their personality, their dual nature. 1. The dual nature of a Gemini. Geminis are known for their duality, but it's more than just a two-faced reputation. This dual nature runs deep, shaping how they interact with the world. On one hand, you might see Gemini as outgoing, friendly, and full of life, ready to jump into any conversation or activity. But on the other hand, you might find that they can be distant, detached, or even cold. This constant shifting from one personality to another isn't an act, it's simply how Gemini operates. Their mood can change in an instant, leaving others scrambling to keep up. What makes the Gemini duality so powerful is how they use it to adapt to different situations. They are masters of change, and they can blend into any environment, whether it's at a social event, a professional setting, or a one-on-one conversation. Geminis are incredibly adaptable, able to quickly pick up on the tone of a room and adjust accordingly. They can be the life of the party one moment, and the next, they can slip into a more introspective mood, seeming distant and detached. This adaptability is a gift, but it also makes them unpredictable. You never know which side of Gemini you're going to get, and that's what can make them so difficult to deal with. This dual nature is often a defense mechanism. Gemini can switch personalities as a way of protecting themselves from getting too close or letting others get too close to them. When they feel like they're being boxed in or controlled, they can quickly withdraw, becoming aloof or emotionally distant. It's not that they don't care, it's just that they don't like feeling trapped or limited. If you try to corner a Gemini, you'll quickly find yourself on the receiving end of their cold, distant side. And when this happens, it's nearly impossible to break through their walls. Once they decide to shut down, they'll do it without hesitation, leaving you to wonder what went wrong. What's more, this duality means that Geminis can easily manipulate their way through situations. They understand human behavior better than most, and they know how to use their charm and charisma to their advantage. If a Gemini feels threatened, they can quickly shift from being sweet and agreeable to sharp and cutting, leaving their opponents confused and disarmed. They know exactly what to say to make you second-guess yourself or question your own motives. And they can do this with such subtlety that you won't even realize what's happening until it's too late. Real-world examples of Gemini duality can be seen in many famous personalities. Take someone like Kanye West. Known for his larger-than-life personality, he's also shown a very different, more introspective side in interviews and on social media. He's a perfect example of the Gemini who can be both a confident, attention-grabbing force and a deeply private, emotional individual. This constant back and forth is the essence of Gemini's dual nature. The key to understanding why you should never mess with a Gemini lies in their ability to shift personas so quickly. While one moment they may be your best friend, the next, they could turn on you without warning. Their adaptability and shifting emotional states make them unpredictable, and if you push them too far, you might experience a side of Gemini that is far from friendly. When they switch from their charismatic, warm self to their cold, distant side, it can feel like a punch in the gut. You'll be left wondering what happened, but by then, Gemini has already moved on to the next chapter of their life, leaving you in the dust. So, the next time you find yourself dealing with a Gemini, remember that their dual nature is not just a quirky trait, it's a strategic tool they use to navigate the world. And if you challenge them, you might just see the other side of Gemini that's not as easy to deal with as the fun-loving, charming version. It's this duality that makes Gemini a sign you should never mess with, because you never know what version of them you'll face. 2. Gemini's quick wit and sharp tongue. Geminis are known for their intelligence, but what sets them apart from other signs is their quick wit and sharp tongue. Ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication, Geminis are not only incredibly articulate, but they also have a natural ability to think on their feet. Whether they're engaging in a debate, telling a story, or simply making a joke, Gemini can instantly come up with clever responses, making them one of the most quick-witted signs in the Zodiac. But when you cross them, this quick wit can become one of their most formidable weapons. One of the most dangerous aspects of Gemini's wit is its unpredictability. In an argument or confrontation, they can turn the tables on you with a single comment, leaving you speechless and unsure of how to respond. They have the ability to read the room, understand your weaknesses, and use that knowledge to craft a perfect, cutting remark. Their intelligence is not just about facts and logic, it's about knowing exactly what to say to win. And they'll use their sharp tongue to make sure you know they're in control of the situation. Gemini's wit isn't just about making you laugh, it's about making you think. They have a way of framing their thoughts in a way that challenges your assumptions and forces you to reconsider your position. If you've ever had an argument with a Gemini, you know how quickly they can turn a simple disagreement into a complex exchange of ideas that leaves you questioning your own logic. Their ability to weave words together so effortlessly is part of what makes them so dangerous in verbal confrontations. They don't need to raise their voice or get aggressive. They'll simply dismantle your argument with words that leave you defenseless. What makes their quick wit even more potent is that they can tailor their remarks to fit any situation. Geminis are masters of conversation, and they can easily switch gears depending on who they're talking to. Whether they need to be charming, persuasive, or even cutting, they can adapt their communication style to suit the moment. In other words, they know how to talk to people in ways that make them feel heard and understood, until they decide to switch things up and go for the jugular. This sharpness isn't reserved for heated arguments alone. Gemini will also use their wit to manipulate situations to their advantage. They know how to work a crowd, shift opinions, and win over people with ease. If they want something, they'll use their words to get it. And if they don't like someone, they'll use their verbal dexterity to make sure they get the last word. Gemini's charm and wit are so effective that even when they're being disingenuous, people often don't realize they're being manipulated. The Gemini mind works fast, and they know how to turn situations in their favor before anyone even notices. However, when crossed, Gemini's sharp tongue can become a powerful weapon of retaliation. If you disrespect them, challenge them, or try to undermine their intelligence, be prepared for a verbal showdown. Gemini will make sure you feel the sting of their words. They don't need to use physical force to win a fight. They'll use their intellect and quick wit to leave you questioning everything. If you've ever had a Gemini take aim with their sharp tongue, you'll know that it's not something you ever want to experience again. In conclusion, Gemini's quick wit and sharp tongue are not just entertaining, they're a force to be reckoned with. If you try to challenge them, underestimate them, or disrespect them, you'll find yourself on the receiving end of a verbal assault that can leave you reeling. Gemini's intelligence and ability to think on their feet make them a formidable opponent, and their ability to cut through arguments with ease is what makes them a dangerous sign to mess with. When dealing with a Gemini, be prepared to match their mental agility or risk being left in the dust. 3. Gemini's need for freedom and why they fight for it. One of the most fundamental aspects of a Gemini's personality is their need for freedom. While they may enjoy socializing and engaging in lively conversations, at the core, they crave the freedom to be themselves without restrictions. Geminis are fiercely independent individuals who can't stand feeling trapped or tied down. Whether in a relationship, a job, or any other aspect of their life, the moment they sense their freedom is being threatened, they'll react. For them, being able to move freely, explore new ideas, and follow their whims is a vital part of their identity. Geminis are ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication, and their minds are always racing. They're constantly absorbing new information, seeking new experiences, and looking for ways to grow. If they feel stuck in one place, whether physically or mentally, they'll start to feel suffocated. This leads to a restless energy that can be overwhelming for those around them. It's not that Geminis are flighty or unreliable, it's simply that their need for freedom drives them to seek constant stimulation and new challenges. If you try to control a Gemini or impose too many rules on them, you'll quickly see the other side of their personality. They won't react by throwing a fit or making a scene. Instead, they'll pull away quietly, distancing themselves from you in any situation that limits their freedom. They'll find a way to break free, and often, it will be in ways you didn't see coming. Geminis are skilled at finding a path that suits them, and if they feel constrained, they'll seek out new opportunities that allow them the space they need to be themselves. What's even more dangerous is that Geminis are not afraid to fight for their freedom. They will stand up for themselves when they feel their autonomy is being compromised. They might not make a big fuss about it, but they will make sure their boundaries are respected. Whether it's walking away from a toxic relationship, quitting a job that feels like a cage, or simply distancing themselves from a controlling friend, Gemini will fight for their right to live life on their terms. They will do this with a quiet strength, carefully choosing their moments to assert their independence. But once they make that decision, there's no turning back. For example, a Gemini who feels trapped in a job they hate may not immediately speak up, but over time, they will start making subtle moves to free themselves from that situation. They might start researching new career paths, networking with people in different industries, or quietly preparing for a career change. It's not about rebellion. It's about reclaiming their freedom and following their own desires. When their need for independence is at stake, Geminis will act with precision and determination. Ultimately, when dealing with a Gemini, it's crucial to understand the importance they place on their freedom. If you try to box them in, force them into a mold, or impose limits on their lifestyle, they will fight back. It might not always be obvious, but the consequences can be significant. They value their autonomy above all, and when pushed too far, they will do whatever it takes to reclaim the space they need. So, if you ever find yourself trying to control a Gemini, prepare for them to make a quiet but powerful stand for their freedom, and know that when they do, you may not be able to get them back. 4. Gemini's emotional intelligence and why it makes them dangerous. One of the most intriguing aspects of Gemini's personality is their exceptional emotional intelligence. While they are known for their quick wit and intellectual prowess, it's their ability to read people and situations that makes them truly dangerous when crossed. Geminis are naturally curious about others, constantly observing and analyzing the emotions, needs, and motives of those around them. This gives them an almost uncanny ability to understand and connect with people on a deeper level, which is a powerful tool they wield with precision. Geminis are able to quickly gauge how others are feeling, what they want, and what makes them tick. This allows them to manipulate conversations and situations to their advantage. Whether they're comforting a friend, engaging in a heated debate, or trying to influence someone's opinion, Geminis know exactly what to say to make people feel at ease or to stir up a particular emotion. They have a knack for adjusting their approach depending on who they're talking to, allowing them to navigate social situations with ease. However, this same ability to read people can be dangerous when they feel threatened or disrespected. When crossed, a Gemini will use their emotional intelligence to exploit your weaknesses. They'll know exactly where to strike, what words will hurt the most, and how to make you feel vulnerable. Because they understand human nature so well, they can twist your emotions in ways that others can't. If you challenge them, underestimate them, or try to push them into a corner, they'll know exactly how to make you feel like you've lost control of the situation. Gemini's ability to tap into the emotions of others gives them a strategic advantage in any conflict. Moreover, this emotional intelligence allows Gemini to manipulate situations with ease. They're not just playing mind games for fun. They use these skills to protect themselves, get ahead, or even punish someone who has wronged them. If you try to challenge Gemini, you might find yourself on the receiving end of subtle emotional manipulation. Geminis won't always confront you head-on. Instead, they'll use their insight into your emotions to shape your perception of the situation, making you question your own actions or beliefs. A prime example of this can be seen in situations where Gemini feels betrayed or threatened. Instead of responding with an explosive reaction, they'll likely retreat into a quiet storm, using their understanding of you to subtly break you down. They won't necessarily resort to dramatic outbursts or direct confrontation. Instead, they'll pull the strings behind the scenes, and when the time comes, they'll make sure you realize just how much control they had all along. Gemini's emotional intelligence doesn't just make them dangerous when it comes to conflict, it makes them unpredictable. You never really know where you stand with them, because they're always a step ahead, reading and adjusting to your every move. This ability to read the room and adapt quickly is what sets them apart from other signs. So when you mess with a Gemini, keep in mind that they know more about your emotions than you might want them to. And that knowledge is a powerful weapon they won't hesitate to use. 5. Gemini's desire for control and their rebellious side. Geminis are naturally curious, but they also have a deep desire for control in their lives. While they are free-spirited and like to keep things spontaneous, they are not without their need for structure. Geminis thrive in environments where they can manage situations to their advantage, making quick decisions and steering the course. However, what makes Gemini dangerous is that they don't like being controlled or told what to do. If they feel like someone is trying to dominate them or limit their options, they will push back fiercely. This need for control is often masked by their seemingly carefree attitude. But don't be fooled, Gemini knows what they want and how to get it. They are not content with being passive or following orders. Instead, they want to shape their own destiny and control the direction of their lives. Whether it's in a personal relationship, a career, or even a casual interaction, Gemini will make sure they are the ones in the driver's seat. This need for control can be both subtle and forceful, and if anyone tries to challenge that control, Gemini won't hesitate to act. But here's the twist, Gemini's desire for control is often at odds with their rebellious nature. They are ruled by Mercury, which gives them a restless energy that makes them constantly question authority and societal norms. Geminis have a strong independent streak, and if anyone tries to impose restrictions on them, they will rebel. It's not that they're inherently defiant, it's simply that they refuse to be confined by anyone's expectations. Whether it's a strict rule, an unwelcome restriction, or a partner who tries to dominate them, Gemini will fight back. What makes Gemini's rebellion so effective is their ability to navigate situations with ease. They won't throw tantrums or engage in dramatic acts of defiance. Instead, Gemini will find a way to subvert the situation, doing exactly what they want while making it seem like it was all part of the plan. They are masters of subtle rebellion. Instead of confronting someone directly, Gemini will quietly work around the system, often leaving the person trying to control them completely unaware of their escape. For example, a Gemini might feel frustrated in a job where they're micromanaged. Instead of outwardly protesting or quitting immediately, they'll begin to find ways to work independently, take on personal projects, or even look for opportunities outside the structure they're in. They won't make a scene, but they will make sure they retain their autonomy. This quiet form of rebellion is a hallmark of Gemini's need for control and freedom. When you try to control or restrict Gemini's natural inclination toward independence, you're setting yourself up for trouble. Their rebellious side doesn't always manifest in loud outbursts. Sometimes, it's the quiet withdrawal, the subtle breaking of rules, or the strategic move that you don't even see coming. They won't just sit back and accept limitations, they'll find a way to break free, whether it's through wit, cunning, or simply escaping from the situation altogether. In conclusion, Gemini's desire for control and their rebellious side are two sides of the same coin. While they might seem like carefree individuals, they're always plotting and scheming to retain their autonomy. If you try to box them in, limit their freedom, or control their actions, you'll quickly learn that Gemini will fight for their independence with both subtlety and force. And when they rebel, they do it in ways that make it impossible for anyone to stop them. 6. The Gemini revenge. Don't cross them. Geminis might seem charming and approachable, but make no mistake, if you cross them, the consequences can be swift and effective. What makes their revenge so dangerous is how carefully it's calculated. Gemini doesn't typically resort to dramatic outbursts or explosive confrontations. Instead, they prefer a more subtle, intellectual form of revenge, one that's often more destructive than a loud confrontation. Because of their emotional intelligence and ability to read people, Geminis can figure out exactly how to get under your skin, and they'll do so in ways that will leave you questioning your every move. When a Gemini feels betrayed, disrespected, or wronged, they won't forget it. While they may seem to forgive and move on, they are quietly calculating their next move. They don't need to lash out to make their point. Instead, they'll use their sharp wit and quick thinking to plot the perfect strike, often catching their target off guard. The revenge of a Gemini is typically emotional rather than physical, and it's executed with precision. They will exploit your weaknesses, bring to light your insecurities, or manipulate situations so that you end up suffering the consequences without ever seeing it coming. Geminis are particularly effective in their revenge because they understand you, probably better than you understand yourself. Their ability to read people allows them to exploit your vulnerabilities, and their communication skills make them extremely persuasive. They'll use your own words, actions, or even emotions against you. Whether it's by turning others against you or making you feel isolated, Gemini can craft a situation where you realize too late that you've been outmaneuvered. One of the scariest things about Gemini's revenge is that they don't do it for revenge's sake. They do it for closure. Once they've exacted their subtle revenge, they'll move on with their lives, leaving you with the lingering feeling that you've been outplayed. In their eyes, justice is served, and they won't waste time dwelling on it. So, if you think a Gemini has forgotten your betrayal, think again. They're simply waiting for the right moment to strike, ensuring that their retribution is both effective and emotionally satisfying. In conclusion, Geminis may come across as playful, engaging, and lighthearted, but underneath that surface lies a highly intelligent and calculating individual who will not hesitate to turn the tables if crossed. Their ability to manipulate situations, read people, and plan their revenge with precision makes them a sign you should never underestimate. Whether it's through emotional intelligence, quick wit, or subtle manipulation, Geminis will make sure that when you wrong them, you'll feel the consequences, often when you least expect it. So, the next time you interact with a Gemini, remember, be respectful and mindful of their boundaries, because once you've crossed them, they'll have the last word.